is you're no longer on screen.
No longer on screen. I don't exist. I'm a big
Hey,
gray box. There we go.
there we go.
There we go. There we go. There we go.
That,
What's up?
That could be annoying. I'm good, man.
Very
I'm
annoying.
good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. My head's killing me, but we'll get through this.
Screen.
No longer on screen. I don't exist. I'm a big gray
I'm,
box.
I'm hearing There myself, we so go. I definitely gotta.
There we go. There we go.
I
What's
definitely
up?
gotta.
That
That could be annoying. I'm good, man.
Very
I'm
annoying.
good.
We're live. We got
How
it.
are you doing?
Took us a little bit.
I'm doing all right.
We got some little issues to iron out, but we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. This is episode 1, so don't worry about it.
I'm hearing myself, so I. Oh my
definitely
god, I'm
gotta-
hearing myself like
I
100
definitely
times right now, and it's
I'm good.
brutal. I don't want to hear myself once. All right, I think we're good. All right. Ready? Okay, I'm going to do this appropriately as I had planned and rehearsed countless times this morning. Okay? I did it once. So, welcome to the Rav and Kizer Show. In this show, we talk announcements, we talk reviews, and absolute nonsense. My name is Kizer, but to my virtual left, I got to look at the screen for this because I wrote this down. I don't have it memorized. I am honored to be accompanied by the best flow in London, Fire Team co-captain, and the BS connoisseur himself, Mr. Ravage. How you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. You appreciate the intro? How was that? How was that?
Fire team co-captain. I was kidding.
Had to sneak it in.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like it. I like it. I like it.
Cool, man. Yeah, I mean, we're obviously here. Episode 1.
Episode 1.
Pretty good, like, stuff to talk about. Actually,
It's kind of funny because we've been playing this for a couple weeks, and then boom, Xbox gives us our first content right there, as you can see right down the middle.
Yeah.
The Xbox Series S has been finally announced, revealed, and above all, priced.
So hear that, kids. Procrastination can sometimes lead to opportunity.
Priced. We have prices, people.
We have prices.
You want to start it? Or you want me to start it? What are you thinking?
Why? You know what? Why don't you take it away? Go ahead.
All right. So as everybody knows, Xbox pulled. It was leaked. It was originally leaked late at night, and then Xbox first thing in the morning, even before I think anybody got in the office, they finally revealed, hey, let's make it official on Twitter. They priced it. They gave it the specs later in the day, and now we have a price for their big one, their Series X, and now we have their Series S. And the price points on both are very interesting, especially when the S comes in with the same CPU chip, less of graphics, but you're looking at it right now, and you know it's a solid contender for 1080p gaming. And Xbox Series X comes in at a price everyone figured would be $499, and now, oh no, you're revealing our secrets. And now we have PS5 yet to announce anything yet.
Yeah.
And the big deal on the PS5 is going to be with the Series X coming in at $299. And we already know the PS5 is less powerful graphically. The CPU is the same, but graphically they have less graphical power. They're going to tote that they have better transfer in the memory and read write and everything like that. But can they put the PS5 at $499, or has Microsoft effectively kicked them in the nuts? now they're stuck dropping it to $399 in order to compete with the Series S, which also has a financing option for $25 a month. Thank you very much.
That is right. And actually, you get quite a bit for that. So I can pull that up. For all access, obviously, strictly talking Canadian here.
No, we're Canadian, so we'll be talking Canadian. We don't actually have the Canadian price. We have the American at $100 for that. So $299 will be $399. $499 will be $599 for us. That's roughly what they do.
But I mean, we'll see what the cost actually looks like in Canadian, because with the console costs, they brought down the price, so it wasn't an exact conversion, which is good to see. They're thinking of us, but that's going to be really interesting. I love the bundle. Like, this is a very interesting thing, and Xbox, or I guess Microsoft, is doing something very interesting here. They're saying, come holiday season, you're gonna have a couple of options. Like money's gonna be tight. If you want to purchase something upright, then you can do so with the Series S. If you want, and maybe money's a little tighter, your kid wants the Series X, go in, do this bundle. You're paying almost nothing. You're getting the console itself. You're obviously getting Game Pass. You're getting EA Play. Obviously
announced
that they just announced. I did make sure to include some stuff here, obviously, but that's pretty sweet. I think it was pretty important actually that they bundled in EA Play, because they don't have that strong of a launch lineup, but that way at least you have something that you can pick off the ground and start playing. I don't know if all the games are going to be optimized or if any of them are going to be optimized for new gen gaming, but at least off the bat, you're going to have some stuff that you can start to dig your teeth into. You're going to have some Battlefield. You can have some of the previous gen sports games, Need for Speed Heat. You're going to have, pretty diverse lineup.
As far as I understand, anything that came out on an Xbox One is going to be fully added to Series X, the next gen console. So Xbox really is coming out the gate hard. They're saying, hey, you know what? You don't even need to buy the games. Buy Xbox Game Ultimate. Every game's pretty much going to be on there. Plus, it'll be on PC, especially for our exclusive titles. EA Play is here now. Anything that was on Xbox One for EA Play, you're going to get. And anything in the future is going to be there, bundled in the price of the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. They're really coming out hard, swinging. I think, Phil Spencer said there's no such thing as a console war. Your console war is not my console war. Then he comes out, literally drops the gauntlet and says, here's our big daddy. This is our biggest one. This is our PS5, the killer right here. We got better graphics this time around because we screwed it over on the Xbox One. We were way behind. The Elite is the machine we should have released, but we didn't. So they're on spec for graphics. They're much better than the PS5. I think both consoles will come out about even in terms of gameplay and things. I don't think you'll really notice much of a difference at all. And then they came out with their Xbox Series S and saying, we understand not everyone's going to be able to put $500 out for a new console. So here we go. Here is our S version, much cheaper, dedicated for 1080p gaming. All the games will play on it. You still can get Game Pass, all the games for it. Plus, if you can't afford $300 American, guess what, people? For $25 a month, you can have it. You can lease to own it. And with that $25, we're going to throw in all this stuff for you. Why wouldn't you buy it?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you buy it? So Sony is like literally probably sitting there, and being like, well, we just got kicked in the nuts. And now Sony's going to come out. They got some better first party exclusives that they were able to get. They're going to have a very good machine coming out. I honestly think, they're between the two. Like I said, I don't think you're going to see much of a difference at the graphical end and stuff like that. I think they're going to both look very well, very good, very even. You might see maybe some Xbox doing a few things because they have that higher teraflop power. But then if third-party games don't really optimize for all that power and they're just going to come in subpar, then between those two, if they're multi-platforms, you're not going to see a difference at all, right? So now, like, what does Sony do? Does Sony come in and say, you know what, we're just going to go neck and neck with the Xbox One and throw our console in at $499 to recoup that cost? Or are they going to have to, like, seriously take a huge loss and go, okay, so we're coming in at $425 maybe or $399. We're going to come $100. We're going to come $100 more than the S and $100 less than the X. Right? I think if they want to win, that's where they're going to have to be, and I think it's going to hurt them, and I don't think they can do it. Yes,
because Sony has not confirmed that they will have any sort of subscription service to pick up a console, right? That's what I'm seeing here. So
they're still backing with their PS Now, which hasn't been very popular. Not many people have gotten it. It's too expensive, and not many people have signed on board with it. So that's what they're saying. You can get PS Now, you get all PlayStation library through PS Now, but you'll get the games with gold. Well, that's not the games with gold. Is PS Plus, games with PS Plus.
Something that's pretty interesting to think about, I guess, is how the whatever console was focusing more on games upon like launch and release or whatever, like that's always the one that at least starts off well or carries the generation, right? So and then the one that focuses more on like on their business plan or console tech or whatever usually actually does not do so well. You go back to PS3, they take an extra year. They focus on getting a Blu-ray player and such, and they struggled for it. And then at some point they made a pivot in their E3 strategy, and they were just like, we're just going to show you a bunch of games. We're going to invest a lot in studios and get you really, really, really good games. And that's kind of just been their strategy for a while now. And then even when PS4 came out, the strategy never changed. And on Microsoft's side, they put out a really weird console. There wasn't like the strongest launch lineup, and they were like putting out a console where a lot of the messaging was like, you can plug in your cable and watch cable while playing. Like, who cares, I think that killed them, especially because throughout the life of the Xbox One, they weren't able to get anything really going for really good exclusive games. And the interesting thing about all of this is it's almost like Microsoft is taking, like, it's like a similar, not the approach isn't the same, but they're definitely not doubling down on games. They're doubling down on, like, this is a really strong business approach. Like, we're going to say, hey, guess what? You can play on your Xbox One, or you can play on your Xbox Series S or X. You can play on your PC. You want to pick up and go, here's xCloud, right? Really interesting stuff. I can see them staying afloat. Not even just afloat. I can see them actually selling more units or getting more units out of store. I think purely got based off of Series S now being around for a much cheaper price, and the all access and what all access means with all the games and the online and whatever. So it's going to be really interesting time to like those first couple of months to monitor it and see how sales go. Well,
it was really interesting because when Sony's always been trying to catch up to Xbox, right? Because Xbox came out and started battling Nintendo and Sega, and then Sega completely dropped out after Dreamcast because they spent too much money. They used the wrong program. They made everybody program into Windows CE, and nobody wanted to program into it. So they screwed over the Dreamcast that way. Then they completely dropped out from the console race, and that was it. Sega's pretty much dead. They're dead in the water, right? They put out a couple games here and there, but they're dead in the water. They're nowhere near the powerhouse that they used to be. And so Xbox got right up there. They're right neck and neck with Nintendo, and then they surpassed it because Nintendo decided instead of pushing hardware like they did against Sega, they're gonna do something way off on Saturn out here, and they made the Wii, which is very popular, but the graphics were crap. But it still sold because of that. And then they made the Wii U, which gave you just a teeny weeny little bit better graphics, but it never took off where it needed to because it was the same crap and people wanted something new.
Well, actually, a lot of people didn't even think the Wii U was a console. A lot of people thought the Wii U was an accessory.
So then basically Nintendo flushed themselves down the toilet and, got shot out into, radioactive lake of The Simpsons over there. And Microsoft has been up here, and then Sony was calling. So on 360 and PS3 battle. Now, the 360 was a great machine. It had the Red Ring of Death, which really kind of set things back. PS3 was too expensive. They went for an 8-core crazy thing that the army bought a ton of to run their servers on because they could wipe the machine, put Linux on it, and it ended up being a really, really good processor computer at the time for it. And then I think it was around 4 or 5 years, they came up with the PS3 Slim, and the price was way lower. And everybody that had a 360 had the money to buy that PS3 Slim and be like, you know what? There's no point in not having both. So now a lot of people jumped on PlayStation bandwagon, started buying the exclusive games, Uncharted, which drove that console, and much others like Last of Us. And then when it came to the PS4 era, PS4 beat Xbox One out of the gate, if I'm not mistaken. The original Xbox Ones that came from Xbox were their drives were dying. They had the highest failure rate on the drives. So a lot of people had to send them back. And then, of course, on the launch console, you send it back. There's not one available to give back to you. So a lot of people got their money, went with PS4. And then graphically, once it came side-by-side graphics, the PS4 was just so much better. Xbox One was just couldn't perform, couldn't give the FPS, and the PS4 could. So everybody migrated over to the PS4, and they've gotten the market share, and all the exclusive deals that Microsoft had disappeared because if I'm going to sell a game and you've only sold 3 million consoles, but PS4 has sold 10 million. I can get probably 6 million copies of my game sold compared to my 1 million or 2 million on your console. Who am I going to go with? Get rid of the exclusive deals. You failed. Either go multi and or exclusive with them. So now coming out with the PS5, they still have those exclusive deals, but are we going to see them start to break off because Xbox Series X is going to be that much better or parity? And I think now you're going to see more parity between the two. They're both agreeing to do crossplay. Now we're talking about cross-gen, right? Cross-gen.
Yeah.
So like, Destiny is going to be cross-gen, cross-play. Like, I mean, you're seeing a lot of different lingo that we never thought was possible. Yeah. And, you mentioned like, why does Xbox want this to control your TV and this and that? Microsoft has had this thing for a while where they don't want a console and then a computer and then a TV and then a phone. They want a whole ecosystem where it doesn't matter. You have one piece of their hardware, it controls everything. So that's why now they, all the games that come out, or at least first party games that come out on Xbox, is going to come out on PC as well. So if you don't have console, you can still have it on PC. You can still get Game Pass Ultimate. You're going to still be in the Xbox ecosystem. So they're not relying on their console. They're relying on their brand as Xbox games, console, PC being Windows. So they're doing a very, very smart thing where Sony does it. Sony's only a console. They don't have their own computer OS software. They don't have this whole integration right now. They gave up on a lot of things. They got like Sony Viodos are gone. They pretty much they were going to get rid of Bravia TVs, but they kept them around, made them into Android TVs. But they pretty much don't have the ecosystem that Windows has and can continue to build on. So it's really interesting.
I think there's an advantage when you play in so many different spaces. And with Microsoft, I think with this new approach, it's hard to look at it and not look at Apple as an example. Mm-hmm. Like them just having this massive ecosystem that works very cohesively.
Yep.
And obviously now, even with Apple Arcade, that's still the case. You can pick up and play on your phone, your iPad, your computer. And I think Microsoft is living and breathing in that space. Like they get a lot of this intel from their competition, and you just, you learn and you implement in other spaces. So it's very interesting because that was kind of the first thing that came to mind. I heard xCloud, wheels started turning, and I thought, wow, this is such an Apple move, Yep.
And guess who signed on for it? Sony. They're actually teaming up with Microsoft because Microsoft has xCloud and all this online stuff. They're teaming up with them, and they're going to provide the Sony end of the streaming stuff. So now, where Microsoft has to pay Sony for the rights for the Blu-ray player because they lost the Blu-ray and HD DVD because Microsoft backed HD DVD from Toshiba.
Yeah.
So now they have to license Blu-ray from Sony. Now Sony needs to license back their streaming service, right? So it's kind of funny, right? Each competitor has to pay each other royalties to use something that they're on. It's hilarious. It's great. I love it.
Okay, so you're on Twitter or you're on whatever platform, and you hear about the Series S, and you do some initial research, and what's the first thing that comes to mind?
First thing that comes to mind when I saw the Series S was basically like you just basically introduced a budget console for people that cannot afford the Series X, and you're giving out just a good enough console into the next generation where if maybe even new gamers are ready to buy an Xbox One, but now they're like, hey, wait, mommy, daddy, look, there's this one here, and I can play all the old games I want to play because it plays all the old games on Xbox One, no problem at all.
Yeah.
And I can play all the new ones, and the price is probably the same or even cheaper than a current Xbox One right now. And if they don't have the money, mommy, daddy, it's only $25 a month. Mommy, daddy, I make $10 off allowance. Can I do extra chores to make that up? Can you help me out, mommy, daddy? You don't think they might not go for that?
They probably will. Let's be honest, the PlayStation 5 is going to be $499 at least. I don't think they're going to make the they're not going to sell another console at a loss.
I think they're going to do, if they do anything to try price, it's going to be $449. They're going to do $449.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
If they don't want to match but then the problem is here's the funny thing. If they don't match the Xbox Series X at the same price, they're considering themselves an inferior console.
Yeah.
If you
that's
say
true.
your console is not worth $499 like the Series X, it's inferior. So they have to come in at $499. They have to.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone's speculating they're going to come in cheaper. Now, if they come in cheaper, it's a pricing move, but it has to be significant. You would have to come in at $399, $100 cheaper. Then you still kind of have to fight that it's saying it's inferior. You're inferior because the Xbox Series X is more. No, you have to fight that they're gonna have to come out with some marketing and saying they're still the best one of the most powerful ones. We have the best read write because their I/O speed and their SSD things. Games are gonna go on instant, and that's the selling point of the PS5. Great graphics at a very high rate, very very minor difference. It could be major. Some people say it's major. A couple megaflops are very big. But if they can say like load your games faster and instantly on PS5, you know what I mean? And if they do the dirty tactics, and they do a PS5 load of a game and an Xbox Series X load of a game, and theirs loads 5 seconds earlier, people are gonna gravitate to that because time to load is great. People will say that, you know what, for a little bit less power, that thing loads 5 seconds earlier plus, I'm gonna buy that one. And I think that's the route they have to go. They have to go with the speed. And if they don't hit the faster speed, and it's almost the same, they're fucked. I'm sorry. 100%. Xbox is going to take the crown this gen.
You think they're going to take the crown?
If PS5 cannot prove that they have some type of superior advantage over the Series X, Xbox is going to take it back. They won't take it back initially, but they're going to take it back by the end of the war, at the end of this console gen. Only because everybody's going to want, if they haven't jumped on Last of Us 2, maybe they want the next gen Last of Us 2. Maybe they have like all their, you can't even say like for Destiny 2, because you can just cross-play your characters. You can bring them back over to Xbox, no problem, right? If you have a PS4, you just cross-play it right over.
Yeah.
What exclusives does PS5 have coming out that's really going to hold people 100% on that platform, whereas they can just jump into Series X, get their exclusives? Because a lot of people love Fable. A lot of people that own PS4s played Fable, right? But you know what I mean? So maybe they say, hey, I want to get it for PS4, this and that. I'll get my Series X, and then once PS5 realizes that they suck and they have to drop down the price, then I'll buy that as a second console, right? Which is what the same people did with Xbox One. Everyone bought the PS4. Then when the Elite came out, a lot of people bought the Elite because like, there we go. Now I got the most powerful Xbox One console, and I can play all these games. They'll work perfectly. I can play what I want. I can play Gears 4, I can play Gears 5. I can play that horrible Halo 5 Guardians, whatever it is. But you can finally get in on it, right, at a lower price point or a higher price point, whichever one you wanted to buy. If you bought the S or you bought the Elite, and you know what I mean. I think Xbox by the end of this generation will probably have won the numbers.
I'm not going to agree with that. I'm going to say that Xbox will. I'm convinced Xbox will sell more or move more units in the first year. I think here's the question too. How long does Sony wait before they release their Slim model? Right? Usually they wait 2-3 years and then they release it. Do they look at this? Do they look at the Series S and go, we need to start working on it, or is it already in development?
I think what you're gonna see, and I think Sony's gonna sink themselves, and if Xbox follows suit, they're gonna sink themselves. They're not doing Slims anymore. Slims is long gone. It's gonna be Pro, so they'll call it Pro or they'll call it PS5 Elite, and I think they're gonna shoot themselves in the foot if they launch a Elite a couple years later with a better graphics card and everything else like that, because then people will be like, why didn't you do it first? And then Xbox did the same thing, because Xbox is already ready for 8K gaming with what they put out, right?
Series X.
They've already said saying.
Yeah.
I don't know if PS5 said they're 8K compatible. I know they're 4K compatible 100%. I don't know if they said that they can fully do what Xbox can do, that they're stating Xbox can state at 8K.
But does it matter? Does it really matter when the majority of households don't have 4K displays?
It doesn't matter, but how many people bought that Elite when it came out and doesn't have 4K? Because it had if it has the better graphics card in there, people are going to buy it.
But no one's going to have an 8K TV. Like,
no.
One or two guys with too much money in their pockets. But I mean, like,
It's gonna appeal to somebody, but I mean, like, it's the same with
It's
the
the same.
Elite. Like, not the Elite, right? The Elite was aimed at 4K display, 4K game playing, right? So those was the PS4. But a lot of people bought it because PS4 and still game on it at a 1080p, like I do. I have a 4K TV, but I never hooked it up to it because the graphics card was better and it loaded the games faster. And that's what appeals to people. Load time matters. That is the single most important thing when it comes to games. Load times. Graphics, in my opinion, becomes second. If you're sitting there on a screen, if you're sitting there on a screen and it's taking you 30 seconds to 2 minutes to load that game, but the next machine that comes out will do it guaranteed in 20 seconds, you're gonna want that because the load time matters, right? You already care about the game. You're playing it. You know, you bought the new Spider-Man game. It runs better on the PS4 Pro because the maps are gonna load things. The graphics look the same. They're maybe not as good as you thought they would be, but it doesn't matter in the long run because that load time matters. It's the gameplay that sells the game. The graphics are there. When people sit there and they're like, I'm gonna move my mic for a minute, they're like this. That pixel's better than that one. Get the F out of here. You don't notice shit. Okay, I'm sitting here and people are complaining, this one looks better than that one, and I'm like, magnifying glass up, and I'm like, what the hell are you seeing different than I'm seeing? There's no difference, right? But people believe what they see because this console said it had a better graphics card, right? So your eyes and your brain believe that that looks better. There isn't going to be that much difference in the graphics between these two. It's going to come down to load time, quality of the games, of the gameplay, and everything else like that. That's what's going to be. And with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, that is such an amazing value, especially for someone like me who has a gaming PC, and I have a choice of playing both on the console and the PC, and I get them both no matter what. I don't get one or the other. I get both.
Yep.
What do you think I'm going to go with? All right.
Yeah, I think for PC gamers in general, like, I think unless you have some sort of pre-existing loyalty to Sony, I think if you're a PC gamer and you didn't own a console previous gen, if you're getting one, you're getting an Xbox. Here's the other thing that's interesting too. Microsoft's full of just really good business smarts. So they're going to move a ton of these Series S's, a ton of them. But guess what? You have like Call of Duty and Battlefield, and these games are like over 100 gigabytes, like just to download, and then you have updates and whatever, right?
Right.
The Series S has a 512 gigabyte SSD, right? So, and the only way to expand storage on the new gen consoles, you want to go and get a 1 terabyte expansion card. Guess how much those 1 terabyte expansion cards are?
No, I know, it's proprietary. I know they're expensive.
$250. They're like in the they're 240 or 250. It's unreal. They're buying another Series S almost, right? But now you're locked in.
Wasn't that just one way though? Before, I didn't mean to cut you off, but isn't that just one way? Didn't they also say there was a USB 3 on the back of it?
What do you mean? So that they can use the expandable
USB. You can use a platter.
You mean like a Seagate drive?
Yeah.
So I was talking to someone earlier. I'm not, I don't want to say he's an expert or anything like that, but we were having this discussion, and he was saying that on new gen consoles, from what he's hearing, we're not going to be able, like, there aren't going to be like Seagate Xbox USB expansion, like, or external hard drives.
All it needs is the port. And I think the Series X has one.
Yeah,
I think
if it
that
has
got leaked that there was.
Okay.
I think the Series X, it got leaked because someone showed the ports, and it did have one single USB 3 or USB-C port on there, which would at that point allow you, or could allow Microsoft to let you put in a USB-C hard drive. Now, they're not cheap either. But if they have a USB 3.0, you're going to be able to at least get a platter drive on there. Now, it's not going to load as fast as the NVMe expansion cards, but they'll come in at a cheaper price point. So at that point now, people will sacrifice loading speed for, the thing. Like how long, like Xbox One allowed a hard drive expansion from day one. It took Sony how flippin' long to actually enable that. It took them forever to allow an expansion drive, and they finally did it. And everyone's like, thank the Lord. right? But I mean, I think with the Series S, the idea is because it's $25 a month to lease it, and you're getting Xbox Game Pass. They're probably relying on people not actually buying games for that system, that they're just going to use the Xbox Game Pass. So they're just saying that's basically just a digital machine. And when somebody does buy a title, they'll install it, but then they'll have no problem deleting it and then putting in another one because they have Xbox Game Pass. I think that's their idea on it for there. That's why they did a 512. I mean, Sony doesn't even have PS5 doesn't even have 1 gig. It comes in at 896.
896.
It's some weird number. Because it's their custom SSD, and I think it is a 1 terabyte, but I think a whole bunch of it is saved up for their OS or something like that. But it comes in at like 8. It comes in at a weird number. It comes in a very weird number. It's a custom SSD. I think someone said, I didn't look it up, and I meant to look into it. It's something like an XSX drive or something, some new technology, which is supposed to be super fast. But like NVMe, PCIe 4.0 drives, we've hit a point of diminishing returns on a lot of these things. Faster transfer doesn't equal on spec doesn't equal faster transfer. Linus Tech did he did a comparison. He had a regular SSD, NVMe 1, and NVPCI 4.0, and the regular SSDs almost came in faster on some of the things. The PCI 4s were end up being slower because we hit a point of diminishing returns on the motherboards for PCs. This and that. Now that might, as more newer motherboards come out, might increase. But on the console generation, NVMe will definitely be a benefit. But is it that much faster than if they would have just put in a regular SSD? I don't know.
And we're gonna find out. We have a lot to look at.
Yeah, we're gonna find out. We're definitely gonna find out.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to a couple of things here. A couple of smaller things. So we have the Xbox Series X box design, and we have the PlayStation 5 game boxes design as well. So we're just going to pull that up real quick, show the folks what it looks like. So we'll start off here. Here's your Xbox One X box design. You know what irritated me immediately? Well, not immediately because I didn't know. But when I saw someone actually looking at the console, I was so ticked off when I found out that wasn't a green light emitting from within the console. I was so mad.
Yeah, I know. They just added that in there, but they've kept their Elite packaging. So Microsoft went for this really sleek new packaging. Like their Series S Xbox Ones were sleek, but then when they came out with the Elite, they went with the dark tones, the dark box. They've had great boxing for a while, and I mean, like, part of like opening a new product, like if the unboxing of it doesn't have a good box and it doesn't come out very well, it really ruins the experience. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I love this slick look that Xbox has been using lately with the Elite, and then they did it with their Elite Series controllers, and they've kind of been carrying on that dark look. I really like it. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of the brick design of the Xbox Series X. I kind of like it. I mean, it's. People say, oh, it's kind of anything like a modem or this and that or this and that. But I mean, like, it won't fit in my unit. But I mean, I don't think it was meant to fit in an AV unit. Laying down, it was made to be a piece of art, if you will. I mean, not saying it is an art piece, but
yeah,
they kind of made it to be out in the open more and displayed. Here is my Xbox Series X console, and it's there, and it looks decent. It looks like a little cube, and it's not huge. It's like a little mini computer, and I think that's why they did it that way, as opposed to making it their usual flat. And then they went with the Series S and made that their basically looks like an Xbox One S, with a big speaker on it.
It really does. It really does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you, and I understand their intentions, but their intentions, they can't reflect their consumer. So at the end of the day, like, it is a very oddly shaped console. Like,
100%.
I understand, like, from what you're saying, that makes a lot of sense. But Jimmy in Arkansas still wants to put it in his TV stand that he bought off Kijiji last year, and he's really proud of it, and he wants to put it in the same spot that his Xbox One. How are you doing this? My goodness.
Oh my god.
Yeah, anyways, let me.
Fuck Jimmy, alright? Jimmy just needs to learn that that's the way it is. I mean, art takes new choices and designs, and sometimes you gotta take a chance. Like the car designers, they went from box cars to round cars.
I don't know.
Can you also create like a flame effect that goes on around you? And
No,
you have the
would
green
to do that.
screen.
You'd have to do that. I could actually.
Can
I
you
don't
make
know
it?
how I could do it. I don't know how to do it through Discord. The problem is the Discord is a little thing, but I might be able to come up with something. I know RTX is supposed to, when the 3 series launches, they're supposed to have that RTX immersion where you can put yourself, when you put yourself in anywhere. Maybe I can put something up and that'll be in flames.
You can put yourself in hell or something.
Yeah.
Like,
But no, I mean, they're getting away, and I'm gonna pull up my phone. Candy bar phones, right? We're all used to these now. What did they used to be? Bricks. What did they turn into? Flip phones. What are they now? Candy bar phones. What have consoles always been? Bricks. Bricks upon bricks upon bricks upon bricks. And now it's a block. So you know what I mean? Like, you got to change things up. And if you look at the PS5, the thing looks like it's trying to take off or break out of its wrapper. It looks like a modem. It looks like
the PS5 is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. Easily the sexiest console ever.
What? No, I don't know why they made it white. It's ugly.
Oh, come on. I'm sorry. I don't know who's been designing Xboxes, but they're getting paid too much. I'm sorry.
My favorite is someone took the PS4 and they shoved it into a white binder and said, "Look, I got a PS5. Looks exactly like a PS5."
Yeah, I've seen enough of those routers and everything.
But seriously, they did take some design cues from current technology, and that's exactly the same thing that Xbox did, because some companies' modems and routers were square. They're like that design. So they're probably thinking it'll look exactly the same as that. Same with the PS5. It looks like a piece of technology, like a modem or something else. It's innovative. PS4, Sony has always done that with their PlayStations. They always change up the design year to year to be radically different. I mean, remember the big boy PS3? It looked like a fat log of plastic.
Though. That was gorgeous. Come on.
I had one. I'm just saying, but it was a big log of plastic. And then if you put that into your storage unit, you didn't even see that gorgeous silver PS3 on the top. It was hidden because of the way it was. And they've always kept telling you, you don't put your PS like this. You put it like this. Same with PS4. They've been trying to say stand it up. And that's why with PS5, they made it so it looks like you can't lay it flat, because, like, guys, we're sick and tired of these asshole gamers buying our consoles and putting them flat. They're supposed to be up like this. They're supposed to buy the $30 stand that puts their PS4 like this. Now let's make a design that puts it up like this. And I guarantee you that's exactly what they did.
My goodness.
Now, how's Jimmy going to sit that in his AV unit?
Jimmy's fucked.
Vertical.
Look, man, Jimmy's fucked.
Vertical.
All right.
So don't be a Jimmy, guys. Don't get rid of your AV units.
Here's
Throw them out in the garbage right now.
Oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait to see pictures of people set up with the Xbox Series X. Okay, so one of the last things here.
Mine's going right next to the computer.
Well, that works though, because you're gonna have it standing up.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, like, here's the thing. You talk about the PlayStation 3 and how it was clearly designed to be standing straight up, right?
That was their design, but everybody laid it flat, because you can lay it flat too. You can lay it both ways. They've always said that, and even had the little turnable PlayStation thing. So they started with PS2. They had the little turnable PS logo, so if you stood it up, you can turn the PS logo sideways, so that when it's standing up, right?
Yeah. But my point is, all these Xbox Series X's are still going to get slapped on their sides.
Here's the thing, though. I think you can put it sideways. They just show it standing up.
Yeah, well, they have the feet.
If you look at it, it looks like it can go sideways just fine, and not compromise the console at all.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tight fit for some people, but also we have the PS5 box art. So we have. I actually hadn't seen any of this until a few minutes before we kind of got connected.
I've seen a couple of it for the box art. Very similar to their current ones, right? PS5, PS4, just bold at the top, telling you that's the title.
In white, yeah. And I mean the white is going to go back to the console, right? Because they went blue. They've been using blue for a while because of Blu-ray. They were trying to say, hey, we're Blu-ray, we're blue, right? So they kept that. Now they don't need that anymore because everything's Blu-ray. They've won the format war. It's true.
It looks like it'd be a good fun game.
They still kept the blue box though. So that works.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah, no, they keep the blue box because it's branding for them. Blue, Sony's blue, Xbox is green. It's Green Grove versus I can't remember who the blue faction is in any of the games, but you know, if you loved Green Grove and you were a San Andreas player, you want to go with Xbox, repping that green.
I have a couple memes here to look over. Obviously, I think everyone has seen this one.
Yeah. I don't know why they went with black. I honestly don't know why.
Sense, man. It's so frustrating because I feel like the nicest console that we've seen out of Microsoft for a while was the Xbox One S. I thought that was actually really pretty, and like you mentioned earlier, it does look fairly similar. But why did they have to go with a black grill? If you make this white, I mean, I guess you run into an issue where it just looks like a 1S. Right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I don't know what their thinking is on that. By the way, I think the stream froze.
I'm good now. Or
You're good now?
Yeah, I'm good. You're talking about me, right? Specifically?
Me as well. I think I was frozen there for a second. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think we're good. Anyways, I think somebody who had designed it was trying to do something contrasting, and it just does not work.
No.
It does lead it open to those guys and those artists that do vinyls.
Oh,
I've seen some pretty cool markups with paint on there and this and that. So I think, it's going to have something there launch day. Someone's going to put some product out there. But looking at that thing standing up, I don't want that console standing up.
No,
that's the way you want me
this
to do it.
thing
It's
has
ugly.
to
I want to hide that black grill. It should have been white. They should have just kept it all beautiful white and left it at that.
We have the
Yeah,
plankton.
man. See, I'd buy that in a minute.
100%. Well, if you
100%.
like this one, there's also
Yeah, the help. I've seen that one. The help.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not gonna take much to pop off that grill if you're smart and put an LED light in there or RGB, because you all know RGB increases your frame rates, guys.
It does.
If you did not know that, RGB at least gives you 100 more frames.
That's why I have so many lights in my PC. Yeah.
Yeah, and behind you there, you got your blue light over there, your purple over in the corner there. I see what you're doing there in your little man cave of love.
Of love. My goodness.
You ain't telling me you brought your girl down there and wooed her with your little guitar behind there.
Well, I play guitar,
Yeah.
I'm very conflicted. I'm like, I'm going not anti-PG. I'm going using F-bombs, right? But then I get into moments where I'm like, I'm restricting myself. I gotta let myself be,
Yeah, I got
sky high here. We have the washing machine. I thought this was a clever one. Terrible Photoshop job.
Clever.
Terrible Photoshop.
Terrible Photoshop. But props on the meme idea. 100%.
Yeah. And I think is the last one we've heard.
The
all
speaker
the jokes
system.
about the speaker
Yeah.
system. Yeah.
And you did nothing for PS because you don't want to show your baby in the embarrassing photos.
We are talking. Okay. Well, first of all, we're talking Microsoft, right?
Okay,
Second of all,
fanboy.
I haven't committed to fuck all. All right. I haven't committed to shit. I am a Xbox user right now. I hate every second of it. I think it's a terrible console with the worst interface design. Like, I don't know. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like, since when?
I don't know what they've done to that interface, but they tried to make it that Windows, because the Windows Phone, right? That was what they were trying to do. And then Windows 8 with the tiles. They've always been trying to do the tiles. And that has been the most ugliest design that they've come up with. And it's still not even fluid on the Xbox Series
It doesn't work.
Leader, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. So.
All right. Well, to close off the show, did you prepare an Arteta Fire?
I did. I have five games, yes or nay, on whether you want to play them or you think they're interesting.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right. You can go ahead and start, and I'll close off with mine.
All right. Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
No.
Cyberpunk.
Yes.
2077.
100%. The game mechanics look awesome.
Black Ops Cold War.
100% yes.
Star Wars Squadrons.
Probably not.
And WoW Shadowlands. World of Warcraft Shadowlands.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I might have to watch some gameplay. I'm a little on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay, for mine, it's not strictly about like I'm not as organized and clean as yours. So it's a variety of different kinds of questions, but they're all one word answers. So either yes or no or versus or whatever, right? Okay. First question.
Much better.
First question. All right. Are you ready for this? Okay.
Yep, let's do it.
All right, perfect. Will The Medium be a great game?
I'm gonna go with no.
I don't think so either. I actually had a video. I have a video I want to talk about.
We'll have that for next week.
Yeah. Who has the stronger launch lineup, excluding subscription services?
Ooh. I'm gonna go with PlayStation on that. They had a better showing of the games than Xbox did.
Okay. Purchase the Series S or all access at that Series X.
Oh, for me, it's gonna be a Series X, no question.
Okay.
Because, and that for me, guys, is based also on being a streamer. I need to have the best. This is what it is. I mean, as much as I'm sure anybody that's starting out, you can stream on a Series S, no problem. For me, it's going to be the Series X just because I want to make sure I've got top tier as best as I can get and just say, hey, I'm playing on the Series X, right? It's going to make it look better.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And next gen consoles will not have disc trays? Yes or no? Will next gen consoles have disc trays?
I still think they're going to have physical media in the next gen, even if it's 10 years from now, because not everywhere still has the internet where you have unlimited bandwidth, where you have actual fast enough internet where they still sell this. That could change in 5 years if we see an increase in some of these countries that still struggle with really solid internet. But I think you're still going to see disk drives for in the next gen. I think they'll still be legacy, and also because if you're Xbox, you're going to want that to be your Blu-ray player.
Beautiful. That's a very valid point. That's basically why I bought my Xbox One. Is just because like behind me, yeah, all those Blu-rays and DVDs back there, like I had them, and I sold my PS4 a couple years back, and I was just like, fuck, man, all these movies I want to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just needed to get it. I got it for $100 because the Xbox One original console's crap. So I was able to get that. But okay, last question. It's the one everyone's asking. Everyone's talking about. It's the buzz around the hive.
All
right. Vita 2?
You know what? I have a Vita and I was a fan.
It was a great, just
I was
not
a
enough
fan.
support. It was great.
Yeah, Nintendo owns the handheld market for games,
Yeah.
and then phone is a very close second. Some will say phone is overtaking it, and you're probably right. But when it comes to titles, Nintendo has been handheld, and with the Switch, Switch is not a console; it's a handheld, right? It goes on TV, but everybody uses it as a handheld console. And their new Switch Pro coming out is again going to be a handheld. A Vita 2 would be a smart and a bad idea. And the greatest thing was the reason why I got Vita, and I loved it, because when my son was born, and I worked second shift, I'd come home and he'd be asleep in the crib and my wife would be on the bed, and I didn't want to be out in the living room all the time. So what did I have? A Vita. Then I could take my Vita, put headphones in, and lay in bed, and I could play Destiny on my Vita while it was on the PS4, and I could still play with all the friends or whatever, and I didn't have to compromise much in terms of gameplay, because remote play is the shiz. It is awesome, and I know Xbox has a version of it too, but remote play was so strong early on with the Vita, and it's a sad thing that they didn't support it and push it as much as they wanted to, and they let that fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think Sony is going to enter the handheld market ever again.
Rightfully so. That, I think, is where we should probably cap this one.
That's it.
Beautiful.
I'm out of ideas.
This has been the Rav and Kizer Show. I am Kizer.
Episode 1.
Episode 1. We did it. So there were hiccups, there were ups, and there were downs, right? but we got
you guys
through it.
didn't. You guys didn't see the 45 minutes of us trying to get freaking live.
Us about to go live, and I'm like, you have to set up the stream on your side too. It's like, I forgot about that part.
Yeah, and then the old Game Flute channels got locked, so we have the new one, but apparently you need to wait 24 hours to get the new stream key. So next week it'll be on the Game Flute channel, and we'll advertise that, and hopefully we'll be able to broadcast this again. We'll leave it on Mike's channel. We'll put it on mine. We'll broadcast at multiple locations for probably the first 5 to 10 episodes, and then we'll exclusively go to a Game Fluke.
Beautiful.
But yeah, we'll have more links. Check it out. We're gonna do some offline content as well, guys. This is just the first live show. I can't wait to do this next one.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Do I call you by your first name, or do I
call me
exclusively?
Chris, you can call me Rav.
Okay.
I am totally fine with both. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not one of those guys that hides my identity, so I'm cool.
All right, cool. Well, Chris, thanks for joining on this show. Thank you to myself for joining on the show. No problem,
Yeah, man. You did good. Thank you, Mr. Host Michael. Look at you there.
You see,
so you shaved down the beard a little bit. You trimmed it all up, right? You got it going there. That's nice. You got a little bit of the frosted tips up there. Did Alexis do that for you?
Frosted tips, man. My hair is actually a catastrophe. It's too long. I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I totally acknowledge
often,
that you're the brains of this podcast. You have a lot of that background knowledge. I'm like a quarter there, and so I give in my input, but I just try to try to guide the show. You know what I mean?
I can't help it. I'm a higher level than you. I'm level 42. I can't help it.
You're still my co-captain, and that's where I think we'll end it here, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Rav and Kizer Show. So excited for episode 2, and we'll see you on the next one.
Peace, everyone. Make love beautiful.